So it's been raining all week here in the city. So I don't know, I think it's the perfect day to talk about books and stuff. I have with me here some books we're going to talk about. I'm going to give you some summer book recommendations, some movies and TV shows that I think evoke summer. If you live in a city like I do, and you want to escape from, the noise and the bustle and the hectic life of city life, if you're a city girl like me, but you are trying to escape from that mentality, I think the perfect thing you can do is just to absorb yourself in books that take you away from that, or movies that take you away from that. So I have the perfect books and TV shows and movies that evoke summer and nostalgia. If you want to call it cottagecore, you can call it cottagecore. But yeah. My first book recommendation I have is Peter Pan. I read this and I cried. I actually cried. The first sentence made me cry when I read this book. This is such a beautiful book about childhood, about innocence, about adventures and the duality of man, I believe. Because you have Peter Pan, he's forever young. And then you have Captain Hook, who is of course older, he's a grown man. But the two of them, they are constantly battling. So it's like the older, mature person is trying to stop. I believe what I'm getting from this book is the older person is trying to push away innocence, and the younger person, who is Peter Pan, is trying to fight off growing up and becoming a man. That's what I got from it. But as I was reading this book, the first chapter and then the second chapter and the third chapter, Peter Pan feels like folklore. He, as the author J.M. Barrie is describing Peter Pan, the more that I continued to read it, it felt like Peter Pan was a spirit, this I don't it came off so spooky to me, like he's something. And I know that's not what it is, but as I was reading it, it sounded so spooky, like Peter Pan was this person who takes children, as they were about to die, and Peter Pan takes them towards, I don't know, the afterlife. I'm sure that's not what the book is, but how the author was describing him felt like it. So the first sentence, I'm just going to read the first sentence of every book. Oh, and there's so many good quotes from this book. There's so many good quotes from this book. So the first sentence of Peter Pan is, "All children except one grow up." So my second book recommendation to you is Garden Spells. This is by Sarah Addison Allen. I enjoyed reading this. This book is like Gilmore Girls. I know a few people are saying it's like Gilmore Girls, but I think it's like Gilmore Girls meets Gossip Girl. This book is about a woman who has an apple tree in her backyard, and the apple tree is magical. And people come to her for ailments, and she gives them remedies and stuff. And she's living alone, but her sister disappeared and came back to her with a child. And so now she's learning how to live with them and accept them. And it's such a lovely story. It's like it's reading like a fantasy, but it's very slice of life. And yeah, this was such a fun read. So the first sentence of this book is, every smiley moon without fail, Claire dreamed of her childhood. So my next recommendation for you is The Spell Shop. This book was so much fun to read. This was such a cute book. It's a fantasy. I resonated with the character Kiela in this book so much. Most of it, I have some tabs here. It's just resonating with Kiela. This book is about a librarian who escapes from, I believe it was the city. She lived in the city, but now she left the library and she moved with her sentient plant named Kaz. Yes, there's a pet plant that talks. So she moved from that library. She moved from the city to an island, and she has established her life there. She has a little cottage. She sells jam, and because magic and spell work is illegal, she's finding other ways to help out the island and just thrive. Let me read you the acknowledgement from the author. So the author says, this book began with hot chocolate. She said, I want to write a book that reads like drinking hot chocolate, or eating really good raspberry jam, or a fresh baked pastry with hot chocolate and maybe some raspberry jam on the side. I wanted to write a book that felt like a warm hug. So yeah, it's like reading this book felt like so bubbly. It's such a beautiful escape to just dive into. So there's mer horses, there are winged cats, there are centaurs. This book is just so bubbly and cute, and it felt like just a warm hug reading it. So if you are into like cottagecore and stuff like that, this book is just filled with it. This book was written for the cottagecore girlies. I firmly believe that. So this is a great fantasy book, by the way. So yeah, this is one of my summer. You could read this like in the spring, summer. So my spring, summer recommendation, The Spell Shop. My next book that I want to recommend is The Princess Bride. I don't know, when I think of summer, I think of like adventure, you know, adventure, fairy tales, just nostalgia, happiness. I don't know if I recommended this book in my last previous videos, but this is definitely the summer read. There's a lot of adventure in this. There's a lot of comedy. This book made me giggle, chuckle, laugh, snort. I believe that this book is way more in depth than the movie. The movie is great, the movie's fun, but this book has way more adventure, has way more story. It's way more in depth than the movie. And yeah. So if you're looking for just sword fights and my name is Emilio Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die. The first page, the first sentence, this is my favorite book in all the world, though I have never read it. Next on my list is Down the Bright Stream and the sequel, The Little Gray Men by BB. I want to just say that I bought these books a year ago. I bought them a year ago and I forgot I had bought both of them a year ago. So I ended up reading the last one instead of the first one. So I know how it ends. But besides that, because when I finished it, I was like, wait, don't I have another book? Didn't he write two? I'm gonna read this one, but knowing his writing style and how great of an author he is, I know I'm gonna love the first one. But I read The Little Gray Men. This book is about two gnomes going on an adventure to find their brother who went off on an adventure and didn't return. So this is their little adventure, going off to find their brother, and so much happens along the way. They are the last gnomes in Britain, and so many things happen along the way, and it's such a beautiful story. Here's the first sentence. It was one of those days at the tail end of the winter when spring, in some subtle way, announced its presence. They befriend squirrels, they befriend birds. It feels like this actually happened. He's such a great author. I love his writing style. So, yeah. So, Little Gray Men, just read this one first. Little Gray Men and Down the Bright Stream. It's so foggy. I read this when I was a teenager. I read this when I was in secondary school. It's a sisterhood of the traveling pants, and it's about these girls. If you have not read the book, it's a perfect summer read, I believe. It's about these girls who have a little club, and each one of them, they're going through their own thing, but the pants keep them in connection with everyone. So the pants keep them together. So they mail the pants, they write a little letter, and they send it to their friends. Like, this is what happened, because the pants is magical. So one goes to Greece, one goes somewhere, one goes, they all share the pants, and they just write letters to each other. And that's the story. And it's such a lovely, book about girlhood and growing up. And it's just has a lot of the summer vibes in here. And this story has stuck with me till this day. So secondary school Laura was having a great time with this book growing up. My other book recommendation is Piranesi by Susanna Clark. It is about a person who is living in this house. It's a huge house. This house is so huge. There is a sea in the house. There's the night sky in the house. Most of all, there are huge statues. There are statues, huge statues, little statues. Everything is in this house. There's so many hallways. There's so many sections of the house, and this person is there in the house. There's so many labyrinths. So if you love statues, if you love the rain, the night sky, the tumultuous sea, it's in this book. But the first sentence, because I don't want to make this video too long, the first sentence is, when the moon rose in the third northern hall, I went to the ninth vestibule to witness the joining of three tides. This book smells nice. My next book recommendation to you is The Rose of Versailles by Ryoko Ikeda. This is a manga. It was written, I believe, in 1975? 1972. This book was written in 1972. It came out in 1972. It's just been republished or whatever. But look at the cover. It's so pretty. So I'm going to read you what the book is about. This is a romance historical fiction. It says, Oscar Francois de Georges is a young noblewoman raised as a son by her father. As commander of Marie Antoinette's palace guard, Oscar is brought face to face with the luxury of King Louis XVI court at Versailles. Joined by her servant Andre, Oscar is privy to the intrigue and deceit of France's last great royal regime. This is a shoujo manga. I mean, I can't really show you the first sentence, but because it's a manga. But this is the first page. The entire book is not colored. It's just some parts of it is colored. And look at the artwork. Let me show you. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. I think there's some more in the back here. Look at that. So that is The Rose of Versailles. And that is the last of my summer book recommendations. Okay, so now I want to give you some TV show recommendations. I haven't seen anyone recommending this film, and it's a shocker. This is such, like, for lack of a better word, I'm going to use cottagecore, but this is such a beautiful, whimsical movie performed by the ballet. And it's about Beatrix Potter's books performed by the ballet. And I haven't seen anyone talk about this. This is the perfect cottagecore, for lack of a better word. I think we all know what we mean when we say cottagecore. This is the perfect movie if you want to just evoke all of the feelings of summer. It's the books come to life, and I enjoy watching this. This just put me in a state of like ease, a state of rest. I smiled the entire time. This was such a cute movie, and I recommend it. If you love Wind in the Willows, you're gonna love this. There's no talking, it's just all dance, and the costumes are so on point. It looks realistic at some point. It's just beautiful. The care that they took in making the costumes, it's just a well done production, and I recommend it to you if you are a fan of if you are a fan of The Wind in the Willows, if you're a fan of Life in the Countryside, if you're a fan of ballet. This is I have this on DVD because I saw it and it was recommended to me. I saw it, I was like, okay, yeah, definitely. I definitely have to have this on DVD. So I don't know if it's on any streaming platforms, but I got it on DVD. So my next film recommendation is one of my favorite TV shows growing up. I don't know if you're from the Caribbean like I am, but I remember when I was a kid, my grandparents always my grandparents always had this show. It's called Keeping Up Appearances, and some people might say it's dry humor. I think it's the most hilarious thing. It's Keeping Up Appearances. I loved this show growing up, and so I just bought the whole box set because when I find a movie or a show, TV show that I love, I always want it in like a box set form, like Game of Thrones. Not all of the 6, 7, 8, 9 seasons. If you want to call it cottagecore, you can, because there are some scenes where it's in the English countryside and she's just having tea or whatever. But the vibe is there. The vibe is definitely there. This TV show is about, I think it's 4 sisters. It's Hyacinth, Rose, Daisy. There's another sister. So it's 4 sisters. I just forgot the other sister's name. But it's about the main sister, Hyacinth. She is she's very stuck up. She's very prim and proper. The other sisters are like their names. So Rose is very flirty. Rose loves romance and she loves being in romantic situations. Daisy is another sister and she just wants love from her husband. Her husband doesn't really. Anyway, but I love this show because of Hyacinth. Hyacinth Bouquet. Bouquet, not as in the flowers, but it's spelled Bucket. But because she's so, extra, she pronounces it bouquet. And not a lot of people like her because she's so stuck up. But she puts on airs like she is of a higher class, like she's above other people. Anyway, but it's funny, but I love older TV shows like that, like 90s, 80s TV shows, but the vibe is there.
You're new?
Only round here, lady.
Have you nothing for this address?
Sorry.
I'd be greatly obliged if you'd make quite sure. There's usually something for a Mrs. Richard Bouquet.
How do you spell bouquet?
Bucket. Bucket.
Oh, bucket.
It's bouquet.
Well, I'm sorry, lady. There's nothing here for bouquet.
Nothing for this address. And yet you have something for next door. I find that very strange.
I can't help that, lady.
But people will tell you. It's common knowledge I receive more mail than these next door. There must be a card from my sister in Tenerife. She's back home, of course, but we're still waiting for the card. Anything wrong, Hyacinth? He's mislaid my letters at the sorting office. This would never have happened with my former postman. You will remember, Elizabeth, that you're invited this evening to my candlelight supper.
It's engraved on my mind, Hyacinth.
Telephone here. You want it on the phone. I think it's urgent. I'm not offering an opinion. That's what she said. Urgent.
Please don't shout in that excitable manner outdoors, Richard. I don't like you getting excited outdoors. Morning, Major!
My God, woman! You can drive a man mad looking so attractive so early in the day.
Oh, Major! You'll not forget my little candlelight supper this evening.
19:30 hours. I'll be there, you minx.
You can always tell breeding.
Phone, Hyacinth. I think it's urgent. It's about your father.
We're going to have to emulsion this ceiling.
We've just done it.
It's not a fit ceiling to bring a major under.
Sister Daisy.
She's not coming, is she? Not in that awful coat. And he's not bringing her. Not in that rust bucket of a car. I will not have them,
I
Beth.
think it's urgent.
It's so thoughtless to look as poor as they do. Daisy, how are you, dear?
And that is it for my book recommendations and my movie and TV show recommendations. Moving on to the other part of this video. Guys, I went to the beach. But it was fun. It was my birthday. I went to the beach and what's your hair on your face? And I had a great time. It was a vibe. I had a really good time. I didn't want to show my bathing suit too much. Why is there hair on my face? I didn't want to show my bathing suit in this video too much because y'all, I'm not trying to get demonetized, and I am not trying to turn that into a whole different video. So yeah, I'm not gonna show that, but I will show the water, the beach. I think I filmed me making a sandcastle. No, it gave me the sandcastle. Yeah, we had a great time. It was a vibe. Oh wow! I see we got some engineering skills. Okay, is that the dam? Oh, I gotta show mine. This is what we're working with. It's our little tent. Got some sand. We got a little fan, just in case. I'm gonna spend all day here. Kane is hard at work, building us a lighthouse. You're gonna see how tall this building structure is gonna be.
Don't pinch me, but I'm here to help you. There you go.
I don't know if you wanted that. What are you doing? No, he's alive.
I'm helping you.
No, leave him. Put him in the water. Yeah.
You think he wants to be in the water?
Yeah.
When the sun goes down,
Here, let's take him in the
we
water.
could walk this autumn town. Find a place to be alone. Look into your eyes, feeling butterflies. We could dance under the stars.
Oh, gotta go.
Fall into each other's arms. Nowhere else we need to be, just you and me. We can lose this love, so hold on to what we know we have. Hold on to moments that we've shared. Hold on, if all we have is just each other, everything will be fine. Just hold on. Then the night turned into day, and I was thinking you should stay. Memories for our house to hold, we'll carry till we're gray and old. So hold.
If you stuck around this far in this video, thank you so much. I know the camera has been changing and changing. I'm just trying to find a good light in this apartment. Yeah, so that is my video. I hope that you found some movies that you've never heard of, and TV shows that you've never heard of, and books that you've never heard of, and I hope that you found something that you like from my little stash that I'm sharing with you. If you stuck around this far in the video, thank you so much for watching me. I appreciate you, and welcome. So thank you. Bye.